Hi, welcome to Back to Basics from Ascentis. This is our first episode and it's on the profit and loss account. And this is the profit and loss account that I describe to trainees when they start on the first day with us. So it really is super simple. It's going to be way too basic for the vast majority of people watching this, but it will be useful for you because it's going to form the basis of future documents that we look at the performance on. So watch it anyway. Okay, stick with me. Okay, so the first thing I say to new trainees when they start is that actually they've been doing a profit and loss account ever since they had their very first job, right back to having a paper round. If you imagine driving home in your car before you started your business, last day at work, you've got your pay packet, and you're doing a little mini profit and loss account in your head as to how well you've done that month or how well you're going to do in the following month. Because a profit and loss account is simply a summary of the income less expenditure in a certain given period. With that wage packet, it was a month, and for businesses we do monthly management accounts, annually do the financial statements. It's just that the descriptions are slightly different to a business. In your personal life, your profit and loss account, first of all you had your take-home pay, that was your income, and then you had your overheads, all selfish stuff, buying clothes, beer, car run expenses, board and lodge, and the object of course is that you have an excess of income over expenditure. So you've got your head above water here. In a business, we just call that profit or a loss. So to try and set that in a more business-like way, we'll make the figures a bit bigger and we will get rid of the personal descriptions in true Blue Peter style. There's one I made earlier. There are the typical business descriptions. Got an extra line up here. Cost of sales, I'll explain that in a moment. But the description of the income, obviously sales, turnover quite often. And in your expenses, these are overheads, and it's the typical business related ones. Rent and rate, heat and light, repairs, renewals, and my particular favourite, accountancy. And the reason that we divide the costs up between those that appear in what are called cost of sales and those that are down in overhead is because they behave differently. So cost of sales is deducted from sales to produce the gross profit. So you have two profit amount figures in a profit and loss account. One is the gross profit, so that's direct sales less direct variable costs equal to the gross profit, and then you've got your overheads, which tend to be fixed or semi-variable. Let's try and depict that here. So let's say that we had £500,000 worth of cost of sales. That would give us a gross profit of 1.5 million, and therefore we would have, a slight adjustment there, a operating profit. We'll come on to the different types of profit later with profit before tax, profit after tax, EBITDA. I'm going to take you through all of those in future episodes. So we'll get down to our operating profit. And the best way to try and understand how the sales less cost of sales equals gross profit works is actually just to apply a little simple example that I always give to trainees. And that's to pretend, a bit of a silly example, that this business sells cans of beans. So every can of beans, I'm going to do a unit one here to demonstrate this, okay? So I sell one can of beans for, say, £2, and the label, the tin, and the beans cost me, say, 50p. I therefore make a gross profit of £1.50. Therefore, it doesn't matter if I sell one tin of beans or if I sell 1,000,000 tins of beans, because every sale requires a label, a tin, and the contents. If I sell 1 or 1,000,000, the relationship between the gross profit and the sales should be constant, and that's what the gross profit percentage is. We can write these two KPIs we're going to do today: a gross profit percentage and break even, because they're related, and I'll show you how in a moment. So we measure the relationship between the gross profit and the sales, and we call that the gross profit percentage. Easy peasy. You just divide gross profit by the sales and it gives you your GP percentage. And again, I'm labouring the point, but the relationship should be constant, regardless of the volume of sales that you've got. That's why dividing the costs up according to where that they behave is essential for measuring and controlling the financial performance of the business. By example, we know the one figure that we do have a fairly good grasp of is the volume. Through our marketing department, competitive analysis and what have you, we can generally predict what the volume of sales is going to be. Now, if we can do that, we therefore know what the gross profit's going to be, because the direct costs are linear. Now, what we can then do, if we know what the gross profit percentage is, and we know what our overheads are, we can then calculate the second KPI, break-even point. Because what we need to be able to calculate is the volume of turnover required to pay off the overhead. So I need what level of sales will generate £500,000 worth of gross profit just to pay these off. Now again, this is real simple maths. All you do is you take the overheads and you divide them by your GP percentage, and that will gross up the overheads to the volume that you need. In my example here, look, £667,000 is, if you take 500 grand and gross it by 75%, of course then applied at my gross profit percentage, I can ignore the cost and just times it by the GP percentage. That gives me £500,000 worth of gross profit. My overheads are £500,000. And hey presto, we break even. Okay, so we've got our GP percentage KPI calculated, and we've got our break even point as a result.